Road rage is scary, huh? I've seen people get so mad over the silliest things in traffic, and I'm just from a small town. Like, I've been in crazier areas before, and I've heard horror stories about people going absolutely nuts on other people with road rage. These are a few road rage stories that we're going to react to today by Nightmare Files, guys. Make sure to subscribe to them. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos, and let's get into these. All right, road
This
rage horror
story
stories.
happened a long time ago when I was in my late teens.
Sure.
I had recently got my first car and I would always drive my friends and I around, usually to a bar called Frank's Bar that our friend Peter's father owned. It had pool tables and darts there, so that's where we hung out most of the time. One night, like most nights, I was driving some friends to the bar. During the drive, a man started driving close to my car, beeping his horn and trying to overtake me.
Okay.
One of my friends said to not let him over in order to annoy him.
Right.
I didn't let him pass.
Not good.
My friends and I laughed at the man's frustration.
Oh, no.
For some reason, the man slammed on his brakes, nearly crashing into a barrier on the side of the road. We continued to laugh. Then we arrived at Frank's Bar. We had dinner, played pool, and had a few drinks. As Peter's dad owned the bar, we would always stay late past closing time.
Okay.
My other friends had left a little earlier that night, so it was just me and Peter. It was midnight when I decided it was time to head home.
Right.
I said bye to Peter and his dad, and I left the bar. When I got outside, I expected my car to be the only one in the parking lot, but there was another car parked near mine.
Yep.
A man was standing outside his car, sipping on a liquor bottle, watching me. I knew right away it was the man that nearly ran off the road.
Gosh,
I kept my head down, trying not to make any eye contact, and I got into my car. When I got in and started my car, so did the man. I drove off down the road, and so did the man following me close behind. I barely got down the road when the man started aggressively tailgating me.
Right.
He drove up beside me, waving his hands at me. It looked like he wanted me to pull over.
Right.
I wasn't going to.
No.
And I continued driving and looked away.
Of course not.
The man started beeping his horn, and when I looked back at him, he was holding a handgun. Oh my God. My instinct was to drive faster, and the man accelerated as well.
Right.
I saw my mirror, and the man somehow lost control of his car, causing him to swerve.
Thank goodness.
I didn't see what exactly happened as I was focusing on the road.
Go, buddy, go.
Concentrating to driving fast.
Right.
And to get away from this guy. I didn't see that man again that night.
Thank
From
goodness.
then on, I always worried when I went back to Frank's Bar that I would see that man again.
Oh my
Thankfully,
gosh.
I never did.
Bro, you don't taunt people on the road. You don't know who you messing with. People are crazy, bro. I don't pick for fights, bro. On the road or off the road, I'm just not a fighter type. But you know, people are crazy. I know what I'm capable of, but you don't know what other people are capable of or what they're going through. You know, you gotta be careful, bro. You gotta be careful.
About 5 years ago, I worked at a job where I would finish late and end up driving home around 1 in the morning.
On the right side.
Most of the route I took was in the countryside surrounded by woods. I drove past quite a few people who needed help, so I always had jumper cables, spare gas, and other tools I might need in my car.
All right.
One rainy night, when I was
Samaritan.
driving home, I noticed a parked car on the side of the road with their hazard lights on.
Okay.
I pulled over in front of their car and got out to see what was the problem.
Right.
When I got out, 2 young men in their 20s stepped out. I asked them what the problem was, and one of the men said their car wouldn't start and asked if I could help them.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but I instantly felt on
bad
edge
feeling.
around these guys, like I needed to be on guard or something. I
Just
asked
got a
one of
bad
them to
feeling.
open the hood. I expected one of them to go back in the car and pop the hood. However,
Right.
one of them just sort of signaled someone in the car.
Okay.
That's when I really looked into the car and noticed
And
there
more
were 2
people?
more people inside.
Oh no.
That's when I felt like something was really wrong.
Right.
I opened the hood and took a quick look. I noticed one of the men gave a nod to the other men in the car. I was believing my instincts at that point,
Right.
and that something bad was about to happen.
Yep.
I quickly thought up an excuse to get back into my car. I said to them that I think I knew what the problem was. I would just go back to my car and get the tool that I needed.
Okay.
I
You
walked
gonna
back to
run?
my car trying to look normal. I remember thinking one of the men was going to attack me from behind.
Okay.
When I got close to my car, I quickly got inside and started my car and drove away.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
glad
goodness.
I knew it was a trap because shortly after, a car came speeding down the road
Oh
behind
my
me.
gosh,
Of course,
dude.
it was the car claiming
At
to be
least you
broken
got
down.
that feeling.
The man driving kept turning into my car, almost making contact.
Wow.
One of the men opened their window and was throwing what I guess was loose change and junk at my car. The same guy throwing things then pulled out a knife and started scratching and stabbing at the windows, causing them to chip and crack.
You had was a
The driver
knife?
turned his car into mine, this time making contact.
All right.
I had to turn my car
they're trying
into
to knock
theirs
you down.
just so I wouldn't crash off the side of the road.
Right.
I slammed on my brakes and so did they shortly after.
Okay.
The men then got out of the car and started running toward mine. At that point, though, I had already started driving and drove past them in the car.
Thank goodness.
I don't know if I lost them or if they just gave up.
Right.
Because I didn't see them again after
I mean, all
that.
they had was a knife,
I've
and
never
not a gun.
feared for my life as much as I did that moment. About 3 days later,
My
I
heart's
read on the
racing just
news
thinking
that 2
about it.
men had been robbed and severely beaten by a group of men
Of
who
course.
claimed that their car was broken down. I'm glad I trusted my instincts and knew to leave.
That's why I can't be helpful to people. I just can't. Like, I'm too scared. I'm too scared to be helpful to people. I'll call somebody for you. I will. Y'all crack the window like, yo, y'all need help? Y'all need me to call somebody? Most people got phones nowadays, though, right? I hate
This story
being like
happened
that.
about 5 years ago. My dad had recently retired, and we had always talked about touring the United States.
Okay.
We bought a third-hand RV and began our road trip around America. We were about halfway through our journey, and so far we had no problems and enjoyed all the places we visited.
Sure.
The RV had a few problems being third-hand, but nothing too serious that we couldn't fix on the side of the road.
All right.
We were driving late in the evening around 10 o'clock when the RV started to make noises. That was usually an indication to us that we needed to get out and make a few adjustments.
Right.
We pulled into a parking lot next to a bar and took a look, and I suggested that we take a little break and had a drink in the bar. As we were walking towards the bar, I noticed there were motorcycles parked outside.
Okay.
And it actually looked like a motorcycle gang was hanging around.
Okay.
We were in the bar and we had some food and drinks. At one point, I looked around the bar and I noticed 2 men who were in motorcycle jackets pointing in our direction.
Uh-oh.
The 2 men approached us and
Victims.
aggressively told us that we were in their parking spot and needed to move.
All right.
I knew my dad was going to say something, but I interrupted him before he could
Yeah.
speak and said to the 2 men that we'll move our RV. I wasn't going to cause trouble. These men looked dangerous.
Yeah.
And there were more outside.
Mm-hmm.
We paid the bill and we left the bar. As we were outside, I remember that we hadn't quite fixed the RV yet.
Okay.
I told my dad to wait inside and I will finish adjusting the RV so we could get back on the road as soon as possible.
Sure.
One of the men who approached us earlier asked why we weren't gone yet. I told him that the RV had some problems and I needed to fix it. The man told me in a very stern voice that we better be gone in 5 minutes.
Wow.
He made a point of revealing his handgun as he said this.
God dang,
I
over a
quickly
parking
finished the
spot?
RV and we got going again. While we were driving, I heard motorcycles loudly behind us. One bike sped up and got in front of us while the other one surrounded the RV. I didn't understand why they were after us.
Right.
We did everything they said and they were still harassing us. I knew the men were armed, and if we stopped, we were probably going to get hurt.
But you about to get run
worse.
over, cuz.
I told my dad to continue driving no matter what.
Yep.
I tried calling the police, but I couldn't get through. My dad said just to keep calling them until they pick up.
Yep.
So that's what I continued to do. The RV started to make noises again.
Uh-oh.
And it wasn't long before the engine cut out.
Oh,
And
no.
we had no choice but to stop.
Wow.
The men got off their bikes and started approaching the RV, but for some reason, they quickly turned around, got on their bikes,
Cops.
and drove away. My dad pointed in front, and he said, "There's the police."
Thank goodness.
We saw flashing lights coming down the road.
Yeah.
I got out on the side of the road just to try to stop the police car.
Right.
But as it got closer, I saw it was an ambulance.
Oh.
The flashing blue and red lights were enough to scare the bikers away. Me and my dad decided to let it go. We fixed the RV and continued our trip.
Good
I'm to this
Lord,
day
dude.
grateful that the blue and red flashing lights saved me and my dad from
I've
probably
never
death.
seen flashing blue ambulance lights, but still. Yeah, you see, if they meant something menacing and they saw sirens for lights, yeah, it could be enough, you know? Who tries to make the determination whether or not it's like, is that an ambulance or is that a cop? You know what I mean? If you're trying to commit a crime and you see flashing lights, you definitely put on guard, right? That's what I think anyway. Nightmare Files, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to subscribe to him. Subscribe to me if you like reaction videos too. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.